The boys are back. Mr. Kurtagram, how are you, mate?
Good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, I'm going well. You've just mentioned to me off camera that you've had probably the first week in memory where you've been at home editing all week and not out shooting.
Yeah. So it's been 3 days full editing, which has allowed me to catch up a bit and take a little bit of that load off of Kara from editing. Got a bunch out, but yeah, back at out shooting again tomorrow. But it's I like the balance. I mean, there is no balance, but it feels good to just I guess be in the one spot for a little bit.
It's probably better on your body as well. Your sleep has probably returned to normal.
Yeah, and I feel like I went for a run in the morning yesterday because I actually had time before starting my day, whereas usually at 6 a.m. I'd be packing for a shoot or, driving out to a shoot. So it was nice to be able to just, I think I got up about 5:30 and then met up with a mate and went for a run along near the beach. And it was just like, I just took it all in because, moments like that are pretty special as well, where it's just you and, time kind of doesn't exist for a little bit. So.
It's nice to appreciate that. I've always been super envious of anyone who, in their creative pursuit, can do it alone, in solitary in a room by themselves. For example, if you're a painter or you write songs or whatever, and you could just go to the country or to the coast or just wake up and all you need is your tool and your brain and you could do it from anywhere.
For sure.
With us, we sort of need something or someone to photograph. Like there's only so much that we could do alone in the house, in the studio.
Exactly. Yeah.
By ourselves.
That's the thing. If you're a full-time editor or color grader or, sound engineer, I guess you used to just sitting there for hours on end. But yeah, for us, I guess shooting and editing, they're just two different things. So yeah.
Yeah, I suppose I'm talking more about something like not that an editor or colorist or whatever is not a creator, but someone who can make something from scratch. Literally, like imagine just if you were a brilliant painter and you could just get a house by the ocean and just sit there and paint, and that was your job.
Yeah.
Just get inspired and paint. Like, how cool is that? That's the dream. But yeah, I really like, for me, if I could split my time perfectly between shooting and editing, that would be the dream, because too much time shooting is hard on the body and it's also just stressful, but then too much time editing is just like, that's another set of problems, and you end up with a sore neck and back and headaches and all of that stuff, and you just go mad staring at the screen. So this leads in pretty well. I'm going to kick this one off with some questions that we've had from the community. I've been racking my brain the last couple of weeks trying to think of ways to get the Legends Club involved. Again, we were just chatting a little bit off camera. I'm not sure exactly why. It's mostly neglect, I assume, for the last few years, but the community used to be super active before I stopped posting, and not that I've had a whole lot to offer the last 6 months, but I'm just trying to think of ways to get everyone involved. Anyway, some of the guys very kindly left some questions on one of the posts, so I'd love to address them and shout them out on the pod this week. So let's get into it. We'll roll that music. All right, the first questions that we have, he sent through a few, but I'm going to start with Stephen Cook. at _Stephen R. Cook _ on Instagram. Check him out. Music photographer from Adelaide. The question that I liked the most was, what was your scariest moment as a photographer? I can kick it off if you need some time to think, because I'm literally just springing this on you.
Yeah. You have a chat.
There's honestly no one moment that really sticks out to me when I read this, but I think the nature of commercial, a full-time professional photographer, is that your life is a series of scary moments. Your life is filled with uncomfortable situations, new sets, new clients, new people, and you kind of have to learn that is okay, and you have to learn to be comfortable. I mean, you're never going to be comfortable doing it, but you have to learn to trust yourself. Unfortunately, when I first started assisting, I found that quite uncomfortable, because every job that I would do, I was like the lowest person on the call sheet basically, and you'd rock up fresh to a set and you would have to try and meet everyone and remember everyone's names and make friends, and then it's like at the end of the day, that's it. You might not ever see those people again. And then I always thought it was cool, the people that rocked up and got to work with the same group of people again and again and again and again, which is the dream, right? And that's why you've made your little crew, and I think you are quite lucky to be in a position where you get to work with clients, on a recurring basis every month or every couple of weeks or whatever. I think that would certainly remove some of that anxiety. But for me, I think every week or every few days there's something that you feel that feeling deep in your tummy when you're on the way, or you're on the way to a job, and as much as you don't want to lose the work, sometimes you're on the way to a job and secretly, I think we've spoken about this before, you get that phone call and the client wants to cancel or postpone, and secretly you're like, actually that's okay, like I don't mind. I don't mind. Apart from that, the only other thing that I can think of that would be a scary moment is just if you fly a drone regularly, there is just quite often a moment where it's usually like a transmission issue, or your screen will black out, or your drone will lose connection, or your battery's running low and your drone's far away. Like, flying a drone is pretty stressful, and probably maybe even more stressful than all those things is just dealing with the public while flying a drone. That is something that certainly gets my tummy rumbling in that way.
I think,
what do you got?
Well, for me, scary moments where I've shit myself mainly have been with the drone, just because of the connection error or the low battery. For a long time I would always ignore the return to home because the battery was going to die, and there's been a lot of situations where it literally would just hover until I found it, because of the connection issue or whatever. Especially on golf courses, there's trees, there's just blocked intermission, and I'm not so stressed about losing the drone. It's more just about that what I've captured already. It's a lot of the time you don't really get a second chance in that stuff. So whether it's it might be an event or whatever the reason. So I think
I know you also like to shoot like golden hour or first thing in the morning.
Yeah, exactly. So you might only be like, I flew to Sydney last week, and I'm only there for the day and I fly out, and it's a big job shooting a couple of different properties, a couple of $1 million properties or whatever they were. And that's the thing, if my drone accidentally dunks in the water or whatever, like, you're done. Last week I was flying it right along this like coastline where the waves were just so massive, and I was intentionally getting as close as I can to the water because the footage just looks unreal. It looks like you're walking on the water. But if at any moment, you can't predict the ocean. Like, the swell can just rise like so much higher, So at any moment, you know, a wave could splash it and then it would be out of the sky. But I guess that's the risk you take until it ends up in the water. So it's like playing chicken every time you use a drone. But
It really is.
But that's
Sorry,
scary
go on,
because I'm thinking I might lose the data or lose the drone. Not scary because I'm scared of the job or you know the how big the job is. So that's a totally different feeling, you know. And I think maybe that's what he's trying to talk about is like, you know, what are the scary things in photography that you have to deal with. And a lot of them are probably the more client interaction, like, you know, if you're tethering on set and your tether cable keeps dropping out or whatever, they're the things I'm more scared of because, you know, it makes me look unprofessional, which I hate. Also, it might not have written, you know, a couple of those images, you know, to the laptop or to the hard drive, and especially if you're shooting someone who you have a limited amount of time with, you can't really be messing those things up. So for me, it's more about quality and control of your equipment and that client reaction. That's the thing that I feel like is scary, is just dealing with clients and trying to manage their expectations, you know.
And to be honest, that is the difference between getting paid $300 for a job and getting paid $3,000 for a job.
Yeah.
Because you might be able to take the same photos as someone else, but the bigger budget shoot, like someone's booking, you know, Kurtogram or you know, whatever professional photographer for that shoot because they know that they can perform under those conditions in that strict amount of time and, you know, consistently get the job done because, you know, a lesser photographer may fold under that pressure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So often it's not even necessarily that, you know, it's not even necessarily that someone might do, the final product might not be that different, but it's being able to perform under those conditions.
Yeah, exactly. And that's how I feel. Sorry, I've got allergies or something right now. So the issue is, I mean, the difference is like, you know, that experience with the client as well, because that's how I feel you'll get booked again, is if the experience is good, the workflow is good, and, you know, even the delivery is good, then you'll be booked again, you know. But yeah, as far as fear or scared of things, I would say, yeah, trust in your equipment, client interaction, and being on time is actually a scary one for me as well, because my time management isn't great, and I overload my plate. So that's the thing. I'm always trying to get to set on time, and for me, yeah, the traffic from Gold Coast to Brisbane can be an hour one day and then 2 hours the next. So for me, it's like if I accidentally sleep in 5 minutes longer or miss an alarm, that's when I'm shit myself because I need to be on set, you know.
Yeah, that is. I mean, that's where we differ because I will get somewhere 30, 40 minutes early if I have to.
Yeah.
But then again, I don't take on the amount that you do, and I don't, and that's because I don't have the stomach for it. You know, it's sort of quite brave to do what you do, and the fact that you do figure it out every time, somehow you do make it work. Like we said, that's the difference between a $300 a day photographer and a $3,000 a day photographer.
Yeah. I think it's maybe naivety and as well, you know what I mean? or maybe just too much self-belief. It's like, I can do anything when sometimes, you know, I throw myself in so deep that I'm like, shit, this is going to be hard to pull this off, you know.
Trial by fire, baby. I like it.
Yeah.
Good question. I like it, Stephen. Thank you. I'm going to leave off. He's got one about which photographers have influenced you. I think we've talked a bit about that in a previous episode, so we'll leave that one off. But the other one was, if you could take your art in any direction without fear or failure of rejection, where would it lead?
I don't know
But
about where would it lead, but what would you choose to do is probably the question. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Because
I think that's what he's
you
saying.
don't know, yeah, where it could lead. Um, I don't know. I think it depends on the day, right? You know, I would love to literally go on surf trips and capture, you know, those like you know surf videos and stuff like that. But again, I'm not like 20 years old anymore, so maybe yeah, maybe I wouldn't enjoy, you know, always being sandy and you know not having showers or you know not that I say that that's how surfers live, but yeah, um, it just depends, man.
You're
Like,
thinking of being in a
wouldn't
band, I think.
yeah, no, that's what I mean. Yeah, yeah. So I was just about to say next line was like, yeah, imagine touring with Bring Me the Horizon and you're the photographer, or imagine being, you know, head photographer at the F1. Like, there's so many things out there. It's like it would be really hard to pick one. You know, it's like, but when I think about it, maybe it is just being on those high stake, like high energy, high level kind of jobs, I think is where I would be drawn. You know, there's one photographer that I started following, and I saw that he did some F1 stuff, and I it makes me want to get into it like everyone else is at the moment. You know, I probably need to watch those Netflix docos or whatever is happening.
Yeah,
I don't.
Drive to Survive.
I've kind of just got my blinders on it because I know once probably I start watching, I'll be hooked, and that's it. Next week you'll see
I
me
know
out
you
shooting
don't.
some F1 or something.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
you don't need another sport or
No,
another hobby, do
I
you?
don't. I don't. So, but I just think, yeah, maybe it's like for me, I'd be drawn to those high energy stuff, where, yeah, if money wasn't an object, or, you know, if the fear of failing, or, um, you know, your gear wasn't limiting you either. So that's the thing. But between all those different things I mentioned, you know, like surfing, you need different lenses, same as the car racing, it'll be different
Mm.
lenses and bodies, and then band stuff as well. You know, like that would be different again. So I mean, it'd be cool to have a go at every different type of photography. You know, like that would be also cool. What about you?
Um, the life that I live now, you know, with my house and my family and whatever, is probably quite different to what I would want to do if I didn't have all that stuff.
Yeah.
I think if I didn't have those things to keep me here, I would really love to do um, something like. Actually, you showed me that guy. Is it Adek Ponya? How do
Oh
you say
yeah,
that guy's
yeah,
name?
yeah, yeah,
How
yeah.
cool would it be
To
to have
be
a
him.
relationship, really close relationship with someone where
Mm,
your job is to document their life? You know,
yeah,
whether it be a sports person or musician, or even
yeah,
like I know Barack Obama had a this fantastic photographer who documented his two
yeah,
terms in
yeah,
office. I think he was in office for two terms,
yeah.
and you know, how amazing would it be to live that life and have that, you know, intimate relationship with someone that,
For
you
sure.
know, and have a perspective like that no one else in the world would get. And,
Yeah.
you know, I don't even know, I can only imagine all those guys. There's, for every moment that you see, there's 100 million moments that you
Mm.
don't see that go into the personal, you
See
know, the
that.
personal log.
Yeah, I would love to be one of those dudes and capture every moment, you know, more documentary style and really get a feel for the person. I would not want to be the dude editing, you know, like to look through that many photos, that much footage. Yeah, when you see that um that Michael Jordan doco, how they've got all that footage, like who's going through all that?
Yeah,
It's
true.
yeah, that's like 20 people's full-time job just to go through all these archives and cut stuff. So,
Yeah.
um, actually, on the subject of that, I actually spent a bunch of time with an Australian professional golfer, Lucas Herbert, and this was before he was on the PGA Tour, um, which he is now. So I actually, when he was back in Australia, I spent it would be a day at a time where I document his day from like start to finish, and it was really cool
Cool.
because just yeah, spending that time like behind the scenes, you know, like I was with him while he was having breakfast, and then going to his physio, and then the next, like, it was like I documented every part of his day, because he was forward thinking, and also he believes in himself so much that he thinks he's going to win a major one day, which is in golf there's 5 majors, and if you win one, it's like it's the biggest deal. So he is pretty much, he got me to capture a bunch of this stuff, and literally not even, we haven't looked at it, nothing. It's just all archived in prep for, like, say, the next 10 years. He wins, then I've got all this footage that we've got where we can piece it together, and I did some interview stuff with him just on how he was feeling at the time, and like all that kind of stuff. So I actually got to experience a little bit of that. So that's the thing. He could be world
down the
number
track,
one.
he wants to do a book or documentary.
Well, he wants to do a doco. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
he's been over in the States the last little bit, so we haven't filmed anything recently. But I just think, it's that was a cool thing, and that's the thing. Adapanya, he's over there with the NBA, and a couple of guys in particular. But like, that's the thing, that would be sick. And because you love basketball, like, that would be a dream. It's like band photography on steroids, right?
Yeah, it is.
It's a different element.
It's just I suppose you're right. I've never thought of it like that, but that was just what we used to do. Photographing bands was like a smaller version of that, because we were just hanging out with, like, local legends, which were big fish in a small pond. It's funny that life. I even look at, like, all the Warped Tour bands, and it's funny, all of those bands that have continued to now, like, to me, like, the golden era for me was like that real, like, I don't know, 2010 to 2013, like Rise
what
Records roster, like Pierce the Veil and Amorosa.
So it was like Rise.
Those are all my favorites. Day to Remember and
same.
The funny thing is, like I said, big fish in a small pond. In the music community, obviously they're massive, these guys, they're worshipped. But in the real world, our parents, uncles, aunties, family, friends, like, normal people don't know who they are. It's just the music, it's just the alternative music community that knows them. Like,
which isn't even the pop scene, or it's not like a Bieber or something like that.
It's funny, isn't it, to think about like, obviously, like the Paddy Mills thing. You introduced me to that guy. I also follow, I think he's more of a videographer, but there's a guy called Jazz, who I think it's just JAS, and he's Will Smith's guy.
Right.
And he just makes really cool, like, little videos and vlogs and clips and stuff, and just, like, he's Will Smith's, like, personal guy. And just like how amazing to have, through Will Smith's been through some stuff over the last couple of years, and whatever, regardless of what you think of Will Smith after the last few months, like, he's seems like just one of, like, the generally, up until recently, one of the most universally loved people, and whatever he does in the future, to have this big, library, like you said, this archive of things from his life. What a privilege and honor to be able to have captured that.
Literally.
But that was if I didn't have German Zig and a mortgage and all that stuff. I think for my life now, if I could do anything without fear of failure, I think I would just do a bigger version of what I'm doing now. I would love it if the if I could use my videos or my channel to make content that will give me access to whatever I feel like shooting at the time. If there's a brand I like, or a musician, or a hotel, a country I want to go visit, if I could, if I could build the sort of channel, build the sort of following that would allow me access to do those things, and basically just be able to choose my own adventure. Like, I think that is the ultimate dream.
Yeah.
Do it on your own terms.
And that's the thing with a lot of these content creators or influencers these days. They are somewhat doing that, you know. There's times where I feel, no, I don't think it's jealous or envious, but I look at some of the content that they produce, and a lot of those influencers, it is that travel kind of stuff, you know. That's what seems to be the biggest kind of hit, because people are like, well, you know, I want to go there. And so for me, I think
I want to live that life.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and a lot of those guys are getting free stuff or going places for free or whatever in exchange for content, and that's awesome. And I think that's pretty amazing that, you know, they get to see all these places. But then I also know, on the other hand, how hard it is. You know, once you've done it once or twice or 3 times, to actually get motivated to really plan those things out again, you know, like. And I don't feel you really get to experience it the same way as you would if you went on a holiday without a camera and just like enjoyed it. You know, you weren't capturing moments to post or to be flexing. You know, it was just more enjoying the moment. Which is now why actually I've been shooting a lot more film when we go places, and not even posting on Instagram with my phone, or not even getting an iPhone photo, because I just want to be more in the moment. You know, I think a lot of people feel similar. So it's like the other night we went to dinner, and my mate got out his phone to film something, and I was like, "What are you doing? Put it down." And he's like, "Oh, I just want to save the moment." I'm like, "Yeah, nah, I'm gonna take some photos on film, and then it'll be developed eventually, and then you can you know, remember this moment. But right now, we don't need our iPhones. We don't, you know, just chuck them away, because you know, we spend enough time on them anyway. Like, if I'm not on Instagram, I'm researching gear or researching watches or whatever it is. You know, like as bad it is, I spend what would be 95% of my time on my phone, realistically. You know, I don't know where I was going with that, but anyway, I would say
I suppose
the job of the influencer isn't as great as, you know, people may think.
I'm not necessarily thinking about thinking of it through the lens of an influencer. I actually I still just admire so much Jared Polin, Frono's photo.
Yeah.
Because he, you know, again, say what you will about his photography, a lot of people just write him off from the rip. But what he does is literally, he, you know, has this following now that he will just, you know, he's into bowling, you know, and there's this guy at the moment who is coming up real hard in like the bowling world, and he's got a big afro, right? No. So Jared Polin just hits up this guy, and he's like, "Hey, this is what I do. Can you get me access to this, and this? And I'll be your personal photographer, and all I ask in return is that I can make a video, and then I can, you know, that's my job. I can make money from the video on this." And this guy's like, "Yeah, hell yeah." So
yeah, for sure. Who wouldn't
Jared
want
Polin's
that?
been going to all these, like, you know, bowling events, and he's like, "Okay, well, I want to go to the Grand Canyon. I'm going to hit up a company who can tour me and do the accommodation and whatever else, and we're going to go and film a bunch of reviews and whatever, and we make the video that we want to make, and then they get the promotion from that as well." And it's just like,
I think
to do it completely on his own terms. You know, people write him off because they're like, he's not a real photographer, he doesn't actually shoot client jobs. But I mean, he's got it figured out more than anyone. He does exactly what he wants to shoot and nothing else. Anyway, that's a weird one. Thank you, Stephen. I really appreciate the questions. We got one more here from Andy Brom at Andy BROMM on Instagram. Talk about local legends. Andy is a stalwart of the Melbourne music photography scene. Always appreciate Andy. When did you get the epiphany moment where you could do this, where you thought you could do this for your career?
Probably to what am I trying to say? Earlier than I should have. Yeah. That was it wasn't a mistake, but yeah, it's just, as you said, I like to kind of just throw myself in the deep end. So maybe it wasn't that I was even thinking about it as a career. It was more just like, I don't want to do anything else but this. So this is kind of what I'm going to do. Because I actually did a trade. So I had a trade, and then I also studied to do design, like drafting. So then I did that as well. So I did that. So I was working in the engineering field, and then I fell in love with creating, because I was already creating music, and then photography kind of just more or less took over that creativity, and the fact that you could get paid for it, even at the start, just even a small amount. The way I always thought about it was, because I didn't have any kids or mortgage or anything, it was just like, I just need to pay my rent, and like I can eat 2-minute noodles, So for me, being younger and having no real commitments was a lot easier, Whereas I feel like it would be so much harder to just have that epiphany and think, I'm going to do it, when I have a mortgage, I have 2 kids, I have a wife, or partner that you need to, as bad as it is, like you do need to make money.
Divide your time.
Yeah. Or you need money. Your time is worth money. So, I don't know. I just think, but for me, it was probably a year earlier than I needed to do it, I reckon.
Yeah, okay. So it was never really a question. Once you were in it, you sort of knew before, but before there was any proof, you just knew.
Yeah, and it was pretty hectic timing, because me and Cara had been seeing each other, and she quit her full-time job, and I quit my full-time job at the same time, and she went to uni to study 2 degrees, and I went to study photography, and I only lasted 6 months. She lasted 6 years to do everything, but
yeah,
it was tough. I'm not gonna lie, it was tough. We had, between us, I felt like she was always paying, because she had, some savings, and I was just trying to make it as a photographer, getting booked for jobs, and also when you first start, you don't really know how much you're charging or what you're worth, or you always devalue yourself. So it's tough. It's so hard. I think I've been asked the question a lot, like, when do you think I should go full time and quit my job? And I always have a shit answer, and the answer is like, not until you need to. I'm sure we've talked about it before, but I guess your position's different, right? Like, you were employed by someone rather than self-employed.
Yeah. Yeah, so for me, I actually never... we're so opposite in so many different ways. Okay. Like, I never had that thought. Like, it was never as developed as that. It was never a fully formed thought that said, yep, I can make it. I can do this full time. It was always, well, my old man always had sort of, I remember these conversations with him, and he said, if you want to make good money, you should have your thing and an and.
Yeah.
And he's like, I remember he was really disappointed when I quit playing in my band, because we used to do cover gigs for some extra cash on the side. And it was fun. It paid, okay. We always just put it back into the band. But, I remember him saying, I always thought that was going to be your end. Whatever job you had, you'd do cover gigs on the weekend for a bit of extra cash.
Yeah.
And, you know, for my brother has quit basketball and gotten back into it. Now he sort of plays, you know, at a semi-professional level.
Yeah.
And when Zach quit, you know, as a young adult, Dad said, I always thought that was going to be Zach's end. I thought he was going to play basketball, you know, at the local club for some cash on the side. And I always just thought of photography as my end. I never knew exactly what I wanted to do. Obviously, I fell in love with photography and touring with bands and band promos and all this stuff, but I never saw it as a full-time thing. I always just thought, until I work out what I want to do, I'm going to work as hard as I can. As cheesy as it is, it's a lyric from Illy, you know, the Australian rapper Illy.
Yeah.
I remember this lyric very vividly. I think the song was called The Chase, and the lyric was, good things come to those who hustle while they wait. You know, there's the saying, good things come to those who wait. It's about not, you know, you don't just sit on your hands. Good things come to those who hustle while they wait. And it just sums it up so perfectly. So once I finished uni, I knew that I didn't want to go straight and get a job and lock myself into the corporate life forever, because it wouldn't have been hard, you know, to get an internship, you know, or whatever the grad position is at, you know, NAB or IBM or one of those. That is what a bunch of my friends did. But I was like, I'm not ready for that yet. I've got, you know, 3 to 4 days of solid work at my retail gig, and I'm just going to work as hard as I can on the side with my photography. And good things come to those who hustle while they wait.
Yeah. And that's that word hustle. It's a word that I totally agree with, but it's also a word that I've learned to hate as well, because so many people are out there. It's almost like I like people, this is personal, but I like people who hustle quietly, you know.
Yeah.
I feel like
100%.
they're the ones who make it, you know. They're the ones who are telling you about everything they've done or everything they're doing. They're not doing anything, you know, and they're always telling you how good they're gonna be and gonna this and gonna that, and then, you know, the other guy who's in this, you know, doing this more work just quietly is usually the successful one, you know.
It's so true. There's several friends that I've had over the years that have tried to do things like you know, coaching, life coach, business coach, that sort of thing. And it's like, the truth is, you may have all the knowledge and good advice in the world, but until you've done something yourself that proves to someone that, you know, you have the drive and the persistence and the personality to actually take your own advice, you know, until you can do the things that you're trying to teach someone else to do, no one's going to book you, because you know, it does, we all know what to do. We've spoken about this many times before. I know if I want to get a six-pack, I need to do sit-ups and cut out carbs. But how come I can't do that? It's not that easy. Yeah. Like, I could, you know, theoretically, I could be a great personal trainer. I could give someone a bunch of exercises, and if they stick to the exercises every day for a year, they're probably going to see results. Yeah. But that's not on me. That's on them. Yeah. That's on them. So I love that you said, I always admire people that hustle quietly, because I feel very much the same. It's not about what you do on social media. It's about what you're doing when no one else is watching, and that is what is going to make or break you.
There's a couple of videographers that kind of come up in my explore page a lot, just doing stupid reels. I'm not trying to say it's a bad thing, but every time I see it, I'm just like, you know, they spend more time creating these reels to dumb songs or voiceover kind of things, right? With gear and like gear this and gear that and all this, and like I can't see any of their work anywhere. You know, I don't know if they're full time, and it's just like, it's this whole flex thing, you know. Maybe they've got a bit of money and they've bought all this gear, and they'll just upload these videos where it looks like they're someone, or it looks like, you know, they're doing better than they are, and I can't find any work anyway, you know. And then there's other guys that I'll follow which will just post work, you know, once every couple of weeks or once a month, and it's just so quality, and you wouldn't even know that they've been working or been on a job. So I think for me, I admire, the silent hustler.
Yeah, and it's hard because you want recognition for the things that you're doing, right? We crave that social,
For sure.
currency.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's shit that I'll go days where I won't post a story, you know, it might be a week or 2 weeks or something, and then it's almost like I just feel like, I need to post because someone needs to know I'm doing something, you know. And it's a pretty shitty thing that I feel like, you know, we feel like we have to these days, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of part of it. I get it. And, you know, it's worked very, very well for you. The fact that,
right?
you know, I feel like there's, you know, I would say most of the last few years, your Instagram has never been without some sort of story in the last 24 hours.
Yeah.
And I think that has been like, that has just worked so, so well for you, because any potential clients, like we've said before, any potential clients looking, they don't want to book someone who's sitting on their ass. They want to book someone who's busy, who's working with this company and this company and this company. And, you know, if you're in demand, being busy brings business, baby. The 5 Ps.
The 10 Bs,
Yeah. we could stretch it out a bit more. I could go on. There's more that I have to say, but I think that's a really good place to leave it. I think rather than start another
tangent,
paragraph, let's snap it off there. Do you have any tools of the week for me this week?
I don't know if I've said it before, but I have a bunch of Pelican cases, right? And I know they're expensive, and I know you know, a lot of people probably buy cheaper versions of the Pelican cases, or, you know, an Amazon one. But I can't, this one that I have, it's what is it? I don't know what it is. I'll find it, but I think it's maybe like a 1537 or something. So it's kind of like shorter than the 1535, but deeper. And for that, I've been using the Trek case, like accessories, or Trek pack, I think they're called, where you kind of have to cut them to size and you can put them in there. So, but it's just lighter, like the air is lighter than any other case, and this version is deeper, so you can take it on your carry-on, you know. But for me, because I have an ever evolving video rig with FX6, you know, per job, I might need the mic on, or no mic, or a monitor on, or a bigger monitor, or you know, or wireless, so people can view it. So it's always evolving. So I have to actually change that pack a fair bit. So for me to be able to just fit it in every single time and then rearrange it has been just a real lifesaver, you know, rather than the pluck foam. I've just never had any good experience with it, because well, for me, depending on the job, I'm packing different things, you know. It's probably
you
different
destroy
if yeah, exactly. And it gets, I feel like in and out, you really wear those things out. And then I think it's like the yellow kind of foam padded stuff is actually pretty good. And you can rearrange that a lot as well. So for me, it's just having the ability to rearrange stuff as much as I want, and then also to have that depth, and then for it to be small enough that it's still carry on, but it's deeper, so I can fit so much gear in there. Yeah, it's actually it's been really good, because I've just been doing day trips lately, and I can just take it on the plane. It's just I can't.
Awesome.
I just rate it, you know, the Pelican Air, whatever, 1537 I think it is. And I suggest, if anyone's got those little they've built out their rig, on an A7S or whatever it is. Yeah, it's just a bit deeper, so you can fit a fully rigged out, A7S or whatever anyone else is using in there. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, the ability to not have to build your rig from scratch every shoot.
Dude.
Oh my God, must be so good.
Yeah, 100%.
Unfortunately, that's the curse of the hybrid shooter, is that you can't afford to let that, keep that set up like that.
No.
But yeah, my tool of the week is I just bought the DJI RS2 gimbal.
Oh, yeah? Can you teach me how to use it?
Love it. Yeah,
I bought one as
with
well.
the gimbal.
Yeah.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've used the Crane Zion Crane 3 for ages.
Yeah.
And I always just preferred that what do you call it? Just the way of holding it with the two handles, like
I
the
think
back
you can get
handle as opposed to
adapters,
the wide grip. Yeah. So I've just got a little small rig, one.
Oh, awesome.
And I think it's really good. I think the DJI destroys the Zion because just the settings and just I forgot what the setting is called. It might be like follow rate or something. You can just get, it's not just about speed when you're using a gimbal. It's not just about slowing down the follow rate. It's also like
tracking something.
This is probably the wrong way to describe it, but like the ramping, like the curves.
Yeah.
So if you do a turn, you don't want it to turn fully with you. You want it to wait and then
it's like lag.
Have like that curve. And same when you're stopping, you don't want to stop straight away. You want to stop and then the gimbal stops slightly like smoothly afterwards. And that is something I've never been able to do with the Zion cranes. But the DJI one's fantastic and it's so light. It's like carbon fiber.
Yeah.
I think it holds like 4 or 5 kilos.
Yeah. I bought it to put the FX6 unrigged on. And I set it up. It was all good. And then I actually went to pick it up and I dropped it on the ground and it broke the back. It was like 2 days old and then I broke this little piece off the back. Yeah, I'm sure I can get it. It's just like this back kind of, it's not the carbon bit. It's like the only probably bit of plastic on there.
Damn.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, you break my heart.
Yeah.
All right, mate. Let's leave it there for this week. That was actually a really good, proper conversation that we had. That was not surface level stuff. I feel like we that was quite thoughtful. So thank you again to the boys that had submitted the questions that really got us going this week. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
As always, if you've enjoyed the show, the best thing you can do to help us out is leave a like on this video, get that algorithm ticking along. If you have a question or you'd like to contribute to the conversation or just comment on something that we've if you have an opinion on something that we've said today, by all means, leave it down below. Subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you next time. Thank you so much.